We're here today to explain what we do when we get to an oil tank at the beginning of a cleaning of a boiler. Basically, these are what they call 330-gallon oil tanks. These are steel 12-gauge oil tanks. When we come to do a cleaning, we have to do a visual inspection of the tanks, and we also change the filter. So before we even change the filter, we have to do a visual. We do a visual, we also bring a knee pad. You take your light, and basically, you're gonna inspect the bottom of the tank. You're gonna look at the entire bottom of the tank. You're gonna check your sides, check your seams, check your sides for any rust, any imperfections that you might find in the paint, because if you have a hole and this tank has a very slight pinhole, you will start to see the paint start to bubble. And if you see a bubble, it's usually meaning there's a pinhole and the tank is leaking. This is why we do an inspection of the steel oil tanks. Steel oil tanks have a lifespan now of 30 years, where in the past it would last you about 40 years. Anything that's in your house that's over 40 years old that's holding oil, you should be replacing, not leave it in your house, because if a tank leaks, you will have oil everywhere. Basically, these tanks are somewhat new. They look like they're less than 10. So these tanks, the visual, everything looks good. The bottom of the tank is intact. All the paint looks good. There's no rust. The other thing we do with these tanks is this is what they call an oil filter. This filters everything that's in these tanks that goes to your oil burner at your boiler. So what we normally do with these is we shut the tank off, we put a cup underneath here, we drop the can, basically the bottom is your can, we drop the can, we change the cartridge, clean everything out, put a fresh cartridge back in, put it back together, tighten it up. But this is where everything starts. We always start at the oil tank, because this is where the oil leaves the tanks and now goes to the boiler, where everything is gonna basically burn in the boiler, which will heat your water, which gives you heat and hot water.